there's good reason to think that the universe is alive. We have to be careful about our categories, because if what you're used to as living looks like a breathing, moving human or even animal, then that might be a bit of a mystifying statement. How the universe is alive? Not everything is alive. What about those rocky planets? What about those clouds of dust and gas? What about plants that don't seem to move around? If we claim that the universe is intelligent, and you've got in your head, oh, intelligence is somebody who can, pass a syllogism, or give a dissertation, or solve IQ questions, then you're not going to identify that intelligence looking out in the universe, are you? You have to reimagine the category of intelligence. Could it be that human intelligence is just one form of intelligence, or consciousness? Yes, it's a distinctive form. We have self-consciousness, reflective consciousness, but animals have their own form of consciousness. Plants have their own form of consciousness, and even so-called inanimate matter has its own form of consciousness. The minerals of the planet, the mineral kingdom, the way that crystals form, for example, could be viewed as a form of consciousness. The way that the elements react, the elements on the periodic table, through their electrons and their outer shells and so on, the form of recognizing one another. Inert gases have atoms bonded together in a way that's a different kind of relationship from charged ions and so on. Why is there a polarity down at their level? There's a polarity at our level too. There's male and female at the human level. But down at the atomic level, there's the negatively charged and the positively charged particle. There's the electron and the proton. And so you have to be able to think in broad categories and imagine things. But the universe can certainly be viewed as alive and intelligent. And there are different names that have been given to that view. Hylozoism, which comes from a combination of Greek words meaning matter living. Panpsychism is another phrase of meaning sort of like everything is mental. Everything is mental. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's no transcendent realm. I'm not suggesting that just another way of speaking of the spiritual and God is just to call it nature. But by the same token, the spiritual is not absent from the natural. The spiritual indwells the natural in the way that your soul indwells your body. So when we become aware of this, become aware of this realization, just to put it succinctly, that the universe could be the body of God, then of course it's going to affect the way we treat everything, because we are part of that body, we are in that body, and therefore the things you do to your own body matter. You're going to care for your body, you're going to look after your body. You wash your skin, you brush your teeth, you take care of your health, you nourish your body, you make sure that it functions. If something is blocked, you go see the doctor. It certainly matters to you if something affects your body. And if you're part of a universal body, it will matter to you as well if something is affecting that body. As opposed to thinking that that's just outside you, it's inanimate, it's not alive, it's dead, I can do what I want with it, I can exploit it for my own interests. So it naturally leads to a much more robust and enlightened environmental ethic to view the universe as alive. It also leads to a deeper appreciation of evolution, evolutionary processes, and how everything is interrelated in this fine-tuned universe. Because if we know that there are if you change any parameters in the universe, life here wouldn't be possible. Change the temperature by a smidgen, change the force of gravity by a smidgen, you know, the strong nuclear force, or any one of a number of constants, you change them by a smidgen and this universe wouldn't exist and these life forms wouldn't exist. Therefore, the end, we are the end, the capstone of evolution as far as we know, something human or resembling human, or the human's potential, let's say, it tells us something about the beginning, because things were orchestrated in the very beginning of the universe to make sure that all of the forces and all of the materials were there to ensure that organisms like ourselves would develop on the planet, eventually to the point of being able to philosophize and ask ourselves, where did all this come from and why?